He is surrounded by a great number of people, mostly the spiritual seeker, the spiritual leaders of those days. They are all waiting to hear the conversation of the king and the great sage Shuka. So we will imagine that particular the scene, and the same way in the Mahabharata also, this is the uniqueness. Before death, a person is either curious to know or giving the instruction about the spirituality, religion, how the life should be. That is important. They are not afraid of death. In the Mahabharata, we see the same way. The Bhishma is lying down and he is surrounded by so many people, including Krishna, and they are asking questions. Particularly Yudhishthira is asking the question, and he lying on the bed of arrows, giving the reply. No, nothing about the death, nothing about the misery, the pain of the body, nothing about that. So that is the uniqueness of this spirituality, the religion. So that we have to remember again and again. When you are born, you are going to die. Anything that is created is going to be destroyed. When that is certain, then why should we put all our energy to protect that? Rather, let us develop the spiritual insight. So that is the idea of the Bhagavata. And in the Bhagavata we find that the king made one mistake only. He was a great king. He was the scion of the family of the Pandavas. And he made one mistake. Why? Because his body was aching and he was thirsty and he wanted only a glass of water. And the only person he made, he was meditating. And naturally, he could not control his anger. And when he was praying for a glass of water, a little water, that person was meditating so deep he could not reply. And whole thing happened in this way. The king, all through his life, he was so just. And now, just because of one mistake, everything gone. So one should learn that we should not. But another thing that we learn from this king, the Parikshit, that the moment I have done something wrong and the great punishment is coming on me, I am not afraid. Why? That is Vedanta. A Vedanta teaches, Swami Vivekananda, in the words of Vivekananda, you are the maker of your own destiny. How it is possible? I made the mistake, so the curse has come on me. I am going to suffer. I am not blaming anyone. That is the speciality. Tremendous courage, mental strength, no blaming, but utilizing that particular moment, the person, the king, he went on the bank of the river, waiting for the death which was inevitable after 7 days. Only 7 days are left. Let me meditate. So when he was meditating, all people came around. Never said, we can protect you. We should save you. We should see that the snake is not coming, the Takshaka cannot come over here. They never talked about that. Okay, there's no problem. Why? Those answers we will get in the Bhagavata. Before you start, friends, let us start with this sloka. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwadharam Gagana Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogibhi Dhyanagamyam Bande Vishnu Bhavabhayaharam Sarvalokaikanatham. This Bhagavan Vishnu, he is the center figure of the Bhagavata. From this Vishnu, everything is coming. But in every pages, everywhere, we will find the answers, the discussions is based on the pure Vedanta, which is God is all pervading. He is not having any form. And all these people that we see and the world that we see is nothing but the reflection of the power of God, that is called Maya. We listen to that, friends. We have already heard when this Parikshit asked the first question, what a man should do who is going to die? What should be his responsibility or the duties? Can you please tell me? An answer you must have, many of you who are regularly attending, you know. The answer was only one thing that he should do, forgetting everything all around him. The mind should be dedicated completely, 100% concentrated on the God or the Atman. Now, this is the way he is explaining. In the Shankaracharya is giving the definition. In the Vivek Chudamani, what is devotion? Searching for the self is devotion. The different people in different way they have given the definition of the devotion. And according to Shankaracharya, the propounder of the Vedanta, he said searching for the self. And all the whole emotion, all your energy, all your mental focus on what is self. How can I reach over there? Because layers after layers are there. I have to remove all those and reach over there, which is the consciousness, because of which I am surviving. But at the same time, it is not within me. So this is a very special condition, very, very special condition. So we need a very special training also to reach over there. And in the Bhagavata, we find again and again that this type of questions that Parikshit is asking. But because of these questions, we learn so many things. It is not only about the self, because this world that we see, we have to learn about that too. We cannot just forget it. Because we are living within it, but what is it? So we find the discussion goes on, and in our last discussion on that 15th, the last month, because I went to Canada and also the retreat we had to attend, and I could not give the classes. So after 2 weeks, 2 classes today. In reality, as the great sage Shuka mentioned, the form of God is nothing but the projection of the Maya. Now, Bhagavata is based on Vishnu. And consider Vishnu as a personal God. And we consider Vishnu is having a form, and we find how the Brahma, the first created being by Vishnu, could reach over there in the abode of Lord Vishnu, and he saw how the Vishnu is sitting and all the people around him. He is giving the description. The Brahma is giving the description. The Vishnu is there. But in the Shuka said, yes, that is also true. But you know, that was nothing but the projection of the Maya. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling a story that when Hanumana was approaching Krishna, the Krishna immediately asked Rukmini, "You become Sita and let me take the form of the Rama." And the Rukmini told, "Why? Hanumana knows that you are the same, but in this time you are Krishna." "I know, but the Hanumana will prefer to see me, will like to see me as Rama. So I will take the form of Rama and you also see it as Sita. Let us take that form." Sri Ramakrishna is explaining, what is this? Through Maya, changing. I want to see my God as Durga. I want to see my God as this, as that. So that is the way so many gods and goddesses. Yesterday one lady was telling, "I have the problem with God." And this is what happened. The God is outside. But I don't like to understand that. I want to understand the God is inside. I said, who is stopping you? Think the God is inside. What is there? The God is inside and God is outside. It's all based on our thought. But the ultimate knowledge, unless and until we get that ultimate knowledge of the consciousness, doubts will be there. So here in the second book, that's called Skandha, 8th chapter. Now we have completed the first Skandha. Now second Skandha, 8th chapter, King Parikshit, like a true spiritual seeker, he is asking different questions to Shukadeva. Why to Shukadeva? Because he was the all-knower. Shuka, the son of Vyasa, he knew everything. Not that the other rishis were not knowing, they were also knowing. They also knew all these things. But this time, the Parikshit was asking this young sage, the Shuka, and Shuka is expounding. Shuka's life was excellent, so they accepted Shuka. Okay, you tell. And they all are listening. This also, when you look at the society, when someone, he is becoming very famous and he is giving the talk. Shuka was very famous at that time. And other rishis are not at all jealous. They're all quietly sitting over there, listening to the conversation, and as if they are the student of Shuka. That is the beauty, because they knew all these things are immaterial. The only thing that matters is a realization. Unless and until you realize it, then it is of no use. So that we find the Shuka is giving the answer. Friends, let us, these questions are very pertinent and very interesting also. And this answer the Shukadeva gives a different dimension to Bhagavata. The Bhagavata is a scripture. But as the Brahma Sutra is a scripture, Veda, Upanishads are the scripture, Bhagavata has a speciality. What is that speciality? It is a scripture, no doubt. Speaks about the highest Vedantic truth, that God is all-pervading and it is not having any form. But again and again it explains all these things all around us about the universe, karma phala, janma, mrityu, mukti, everything. And this king, Parikshit, he was actually tapping, constantly asking the question, and the answer was coming from Shukadeva. And Bhagavata is because it's a Vedantic scripture, no doubt, but excellent blend of knowledge and devotion. The knowledge and devotion is blended over here. The only pure knowledge, the dry knowledge, Sri Ramakrishna told, I cannot accept that. Don't be like that, he said. I do not like that, only dry the knowledge. When the other people are dying, all around they are suffering, And I am thinking, I am the self. All those people are dying and let them die. Let them suffer. It is not my responsibility. Because all these things are Maya. No, it is wrong. Completely wrong. One Swami Vivekananda, he went to visit his brother disciple Turiyananda ji, and who was practicing austerity on the bank of the river. I think it is Jamuna. And he was in a hut. In the next hut there was another monk. In early morning he used to chant the Bhagavad Gita, but he was not knowing the Sanskrit properly, the pronunciation was very wrong. And Turiyananda ji was the excellent, the exponent of the Bhagavad Gita. Turiyananda ji never corrected him. Swamiji went over there one day, he heard the man is chanting in a wrong way. He said, why you have not corrected him? No, that's not my duty. He is doing in his own way, let him do. Immediately Swami Vivekananda became very angry. Is this your Vedanta? This Vedanta that is asking you to be aloof in the suffering and mistakes and the wrongdoings of the people all around you. This is the special Vedanta Sri Ramakrishna Vivekananda introduced. It has been termed as Neo-Vedanta. The completely associated with each and every one, but at the same time not attached to anything. Why? The knowledge is there that all these things belongs to Maya, realm of Maya. But at the same time, as long as I consciousness is there, body association is there, I must go and help them. So Vivekananda started teaching that person in the proper way. Then Turiyanandaji also joined. Vivekananda, he was asking his brother disciples to come and serve the people in different manners. Some were all over the India, some were outside also, and some they came over here. And this is called practical Vedanta. This practical Vedanta, here we find in the Bhagavata, is a nice blending of the knowledge and devotion. Bhagavata is a Hindu theology. It is explaining God and the Hindu religious beliefs also. When we read the questions, I am not going to read all the questions, you have to take the trouble to read those yourselves, and we will go to the next chapter in the next skanda where the answers are coming. But some of the questions we will discuss. 25 questions he asked, and related to so wonderful different varieties. So it is the theology that comes up. The theology means that about the God and the things that we are practicing. So this is the Hindu theology. And the King Parikshit questions and the answers of the Shukadeva develop the mythology also. As the wonderful way it is explaining. So the mythology, theology and philosophy, these are the three things we get in the Bhagavata. So that's why the Bhagavata is so popular. The ordinary people also, they are eager to listen to the Bhagavata. But about reading the Vedanta, very few. In America only all the Vedantic, the discussions are going on. If you go to India, no one says, only a few handful people are interested about Vedanta. Mostly they like to know about the God and the karma phala and all these things. So why you find over here? And the first questions that the Parikshit is asking, the Atman is spirit, non-material. How does it then come to have a body which is material? Look at this question. And look at the mental stability and the intellect of a person who is going to die after a few days. I don't know how many days have already passed because it is only 7 days. And this is the question he is asking. Atman is a spirit and non-material. how can it be associated with the material? Is there any cause or is it just accidental? Now that Atman, we call it Jivatma, the individual self, because of that we are living, moving, talking, all our life is nothing but because of that. But we do not know what is that. And we don't care to know about it. We are more eager to know everything, but not the Atman. So they say that this is the ignorance, ajnana. And about the Guru they say ajnana timirandasya, jnananjana salakaya. Who is the Guru? Here the Shukadeva is the Guru. Why? He is dispelling, removing the ignorance. And the people, they never talk about the self. They are careful or caring about the next life. After this life, I was very comfortable over here. In the next life, do you think I will get like that? Some people said, why not? Donate some money. So, he thinks, okay, just by giving some donation, I am securing a seat somewhere, it's called heaven. So he is imagining that I will go to the heaven, there also some good situation will be there, I'll be happy. He is always concerned about himself. I want to be happy. But who are you? Before your birth, where you were. After your death, where you are going to go. Nobody cares. And that is called ignorance. And that is so deep. So we need an avatara to remove that ignorance. So he is asking this question. And in the second question, this is question he has asked in the second skanda, 8th chapter, 7th verse. And in the 8th verse he asked, a person is having many organs and limbs. The Supreme Being from whom this person and the whole world is created, also having, as you said, same limbs. What is then difference between the Supreme Being, the God, and the person? So look at the question. How intelligently he is putting it, and this is Bhagavatam. So I really wonder if the people who are reading the Bhagavata, whether they go through these chapters or not. There are some very, very devoted chapters there. I mean, the God, about the God, the description of God. Immediately after this, there will be a great description about the Brahma visiting the Lord. And the description of all those things are there. But the question is a very intelligent question. First and foremost, how this body, which is inert, can have a consciousness inside. How the consciousness, it attests to it. A long back, so I received this question in one discussion. Then to give the answer, I told, there is a wonderful adhesive, It's a very powerful. Once you stick, and then it's going to stick for all life. And the name of the adhesive is ahamkara, ego. Because of the ego, because of that, we are associated. Though the self is completely free, it is not having anything associated with this body, but it is associated because of the ego, I consciousness, I. And that's why the I, Sri Ramakrishna told, if you remove that I, also problem is solved. Only that. So I means that ego, that I am doing it, I am feeling it, I am all this. So that is the problem for the spiritual growth. In the worldly life it is okay. When you have to work, in the work field you have to say, I know this. That is okay. But at the same time, within, if you are not humble, oh God, because of you, I could say like this, I could do like this. If that humbleness is not there, then you are bound. And that karma phala will bring you back again and again and again in this life. So that here it says, how it was that person who is having a limb, why he is asking this question? Akhanda mandalakaram. Akhanda, there is no khanda. And in the Vedanta, when they are proving that there is only one, there are Swagata Veda, Vijatiya Veda, Swagata Veda, all these three different Vedas are there, differences are there. And we have many times we have discussed over here. And if you say that here there is no animal in this room, in this chapel, we are only one, that is human being and nothing else. Is the God like that one? Immediately they will say no. Okay, the difference between a tree and a man is the God is a divine and all other things are not. Is the God different like that? One, as you say, is it like that? No. Sajatiya, Bijatiya, Swagata Veda. In the Swagata Veda, it says the God is one person, just like us, like having the hands and the legs. They say no. He is not having any limbs. And that particular idea, the abstract idea, without any limbs, that consciousness to make the ordinary people understand that particular abstract idea, they made Jagannatha, the image of Jagannatha, no hands, no leg, nothing. But he is the witness. That's why two big eyes. So that is the witness. Here we find he is asking, is he just like any other human being having the limbs? Third question he is asking. He is going on asking the questions. Shukadeva only listening. He is not giving the answer. He will give answer afterwards. And the Brahma, the firstborn, Navi Padma Samudbhava, in it they say, Navi Padma Samudbhava, the firstborn. He was born out of Vishnu. So that he has seen that Drishe, the divine form of the Supreme God, Tat Rupam. I am not quoting the whole Sanskrit of the sloka. Tat Rupam, that Rupa are the form of the God who saw Brahma. Please tell me, what was that divine form? How it looks? So, from the question we can understand that Shukadeva was also knowing about that. So he could explain what the Brahma saw, the firstborn saw, that image of God. Shukadeva was also having, so he could explain. That's why Parikshit is asking Shuka, can you please explain to me? Then in another verse he said, Sa chapi yatra purusho Vishya sthiti udbhava appayaha mukta atma mayam maisha shete sarva guhashayaha. Very simple Sanskrit, it says, Sa cha opi, sa that, cha and opi again. Yatra purusho. Purusha means the one, that consciousness which is residing within the heart, as because it is residing, so pura. From the pura, the purusha. The one who is residing inside, in the pura, is purusha. It's not about the gender. Vishya sthiti udbhava appayaha. He, the Supreme Being, who is the Lord of Maya. Maya, Isha. So Maesha. Maesha, Isha means the God, the Lord. The Maya Isha, and the indweller within all being, Sarva Guha Ashaya. Ashaya means the place. And Guha means where inside the heart that is residing. As if within our heart that consciousness is residing. So Sarva Guha Ashaya. In the Upanishad also, it says that it is in the Guha. So in the heart, always we try to meditate God. Why? Because it says the God is residing within the heart. But the physical heart that the doctors knows and we are thinking about, it's not that heart. But we have to understand that they're giving as an imaginary way, as if there is a cave. And in that cave, the God is there. So Guha Shaya, also the source from which the creation, sustention and the dissolution take place. Vishwa, Sthiti, Udbhava, Appayaha. Vishwa, this universe. Sthiti, Udbhava and Appayaha. In what form does he remain? Now the question is, now this all-pervading God who is residing in every heart, when he is mukta atmamayam, he is free from his atmamaya, how he will remain? That is the question. It's very, very difficult to answer. So we will be looking for the answer of the Shuka, how he is explaining. Almost impossible to answer, because then you have to answer about the Brahman. Then no one can speak about the Brahman. But we'll find how Shuka is giving that answer. And it says, Mukta Atma Mayam Shete. Shete means lying down. This is the way they explain the lying down, as if the God is lying down. Vishnu mostly, you will see that he is lying down. And some of the afterwards, when the Lord Buddha became very popular, very famous, then his disciples also started making the images of Buddha lying down. He is lying down. That means he is inactive, full of knowledge. So that is the idea. When a person is lying down, Shiva is lying down. The Mother Kali is standing. She is active. The power of the Shiva taking the form of the Mother Kali, performing all this, but the Shiva himself is just lying down. Here the Vishnu is also lying down. Here the question also, when he is separate from his Maya, that means he is not doing any action. So Maya is the power of God. With the help of the power of God is all working. So President never comes to us. We have never seen President. But his people are acting. All the police personnel and different government officials having a zeal. And because of that power of President, they are all working. When they are asking us to stop, we have to stop because the power. If ordinary person, someone, then we won't stop. Because he is not having that power. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is giving that example. There was a pond and the villagers used to come and throw all the litters and making that place dirty. And so many people went and told them, please don't do this, don't do this. But they will never listen. Then they went to the court and the person came with the order from the court and say, if anyone making this place dirty will be punished. And all stopped. And this is the power of God. And when there is a power of God, then activity, the God cannot lie down, God cannot sleep. Then when that activity is not there, So obviously God must be lying down, taking rest, inactive. How it is possible? That is the question. In what form does he remain when he disassociates himself from his own Maya? Please remember the word Maya means the power of God. It is inner power of God, the Maya. We have heard that there are worlds, Chatur Bhuvan, Chaturdash Bhuvan, 14. The Patala, and like that, there are 14, the different Bhuvanas are there, worlds. Please tell about that. And who are protecting that and are formed from his limbs. Again, the worlds and their protectors constitute his limbs. Why this contradiction? Now there is a description that what is the God? God is all these things. Limbs means this is his hand, this is his leg, this is his this. In the Purusha Shukta, if you read in the Upanishad, and they say the Purusha, his head is the Brahmana, and his hands are the Kshatriya, and his thighs are the Vaishyas, and the leg are the Shudra. The eyes, the sun and the moon are the eyes. The description of a Purusha. It's a huge Purusha. Purusha Shuktam is the poem is there, the chanting is there, the Purusha Shukta, very famous. But is it true? And why this form they have given? If you say these are the forms of the God, again you say God created this, why this contradiction? Who is what? So that you have to explain. And then he is asking the time, different times are there, kalpa. You know that immediately after the birth, they will be noting down the exact time of the newborn. And then the place. And accordingly, the date, time, and place, perfectly, if you can give to someone who can do that type of calculation, can tell what Jataka means the person who was born, will have in his life. Success, misery, failure, they can understand that. In many of the cases, it is true. How it is possible? Because the timing. And sometimes we don't take so much seriously. Of course, in America, they are very specifically say. In India nowadays, maybe they are doing. In the olden days, they used to say, now that time it was really raining. Every year there is rain. What that time, nobody knows. So, the one Bangladeshi boy, he rang me. I told him, what is your age? For some reason. I asked him his age. He said, you see that truly they say that I was born on such and such time, 2-3 years before, but in my official, that my -3, that means now I am 31 exactly, if you say it is 34. So that is the way the Asian, they are counting. So if you try to understand the timing, it is very impossible. Just imagining like that. But here he wants to know the timing. What is the different time length between kalpa, the full cycle, and vikalpa? These are the terminologies used in our mythologies, and there it says the kalpa and vikalpa. How to understand? As per the decision of time, the past, present, and future. We always say that is the past. But how long we'll say that up to this is the past? Yesterday is also past. And at the time of Akbar, that was also past. At the time of Ramachandra, that is also past. So how can we calculate the past and the present and the future? That are the questions he is asking, because he asked. And the answer the Shukadeva gave afterwards So a new system developed to understand, to analyze the future of people, how they were, what they will be, and at present what they are going to do. Everything, the Atit, Vartaman and Bhavishyat. But if you look at the Vedantic way, oh, this is all. Now recently we'll be going to the retreat in this way, you will hear all these things, nothing. That is okay. But at the same time, that's why Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna is telling, you have to take the whole thing, the shell and the kernel, both you have to take. Then only it will be total. Otherwise you are simply thinking in that way. Are you ready really? If you are not, then you have to take these Vartaman, Atit, Bhavishyat and all these things. Otherwise you won't be able to develop your life. What is the span of life of human or the Pitris or the Devas? The human span of life. Now, let us try to get the answer of the first question he was asking. How the self, which is consciousness, got attached with unconscious material like the body. To answer this, what the Shukadeva is telling, Shuka Uvacha, Atma Mayam Rite Rajan Parasya Anubhavat Manaha Na Ghateta Artha Sambandha Shapna Drashtu Iba Anjasa. Anubhavat Manaha, the spiritually conscious entity like the self, Anubhavat Manaha, Atma, that is conscious about the real self, that is our self. Now, Artha Sambandha, any connection with the inert body, it is truly not. Pure Vedanta in Bhagavatam. The consciousness that you think that it is there within us, truly it is nothing, it is not there. Friends, let us go back to some other aspect. It says that from that consciousness everything has come. Ekaham bahushyama vihi, I am the one, I like to be many. And in Hinduism, because of the freedom, different type of the ideologies have come, different of the explanations have come. And here they say, explaining the Upanishadic, the stotra, Ekaham, I am one, I like to be many. He just wished and immediately everything came up. It's not the one after another it all came. Then when it came, what we see is the inner thing. But who thought that I like to be many? Consciousness. The consciousness, when it is creating, how can that be inert? That is the doubtful. That's why majority of the religion, they cannot give the answer to this. And here only we differ. The God is the creator, this is the universe, we are related with the God, everybody is telling like that. But the problem is how God created. If he is creating with some material, where from he got the material? And if he is creating out of himself, then we are supposed to be conscious. Because he is consciousness. The obviously something that you are making out of sugar cannot be bitter, it must be sweet. And you are making a sweet, a something out of sugar and it is bitter. That means you have mixed something else, not sugar. It cannot be bitter. So that way, if the God, which is consciousness, has created this universe, everything must be conscious. Then why we are not? Then why we are burning this body or burning the body after death? So the answer is Parasya Atma Mayam Rite. Parasya means the God, the Lord. Parasya, a different terminology used to explain or to addressed. Here the Parasya means the God. Atma Mayam, because of his power, Riti, without the deluding power of the Lord, it is not possible. The power of the Lord reflected within us, and we are thinking it is true, and so we think that we are associated with the consciousness. It is not. They say that when one person is dead, then what happened? Now again, let me remind you, because a little complicated way, there are something that we have to understand about the existence. One, this gross body. And inside the gross body, they say, this subtle body. The subtle body is the main combination of the subtle body is the mind. And after that, the causal body, which no one can understand. We can go up to the mind. We can understand the mind. That today mind is very happy, yesterday it was not happy. We can understand the mind. Then goes to cause. The cause for which all these things are happening. And then comes the supreme being, the consciousness. The causal body, then the subtle body, Shukshma Sharira, then the gross body, the Sharira. These all three are active because of that power, and that power is called as Chaitanya, consciousness. Now the thing is, the consciousness, is it associated? No, it is reflected. Recently only, all people were looking at the sky, the night sky, to see the huge moon. The red moon, the blue moon, and wonderful big moon. And after so many years, only this big moon comes. And the bright light of the moon. Is the light actually moon's? No. According to science, we know it is the reflected light of the sun. So the reflection of the sun, and similarly the reflection of the consciousness that is coming out on our subtle body, that is mind, we think that we are conscious. But in reality, we are not. So this is the truth, this is the knowledge. If we can understand that, then what will happen? Our ego will go away. So we are just the reflected things and nothing else. So let us try to reach to the original. This is the opportunity the human being is having. That's why Shankaracharya in the Vivek Chudamani, from the 2nd verse to 7th verse, all these verses dedicated for the glory of the human birth. And in this human birth, what is the speciality? We can discriminate, we can think, we can judge. That is the speciality of the human being. And with that, if we utilize ihachet avedit ata satyamasti, nachet iha avedit mahati vinasti. Here and now, if you can realize, then you are blessed. If you cannot, you do not know what is going to happen to you in your next birth. And the questions will come again and again, that what happens to the human being according to their work? What type of work one should do to reach to the level of God? The Devas, they say Deva. Deva is not the God, that is the conception of God. The Devas are a being that is in between the God and the human, and they are having tremendous power on the phenomenal world. So that is called Devas. Many people wants to go up to that they will be the controller of the air, controller of the light, controller of many things. So that's called the Deva condition. So they go into that. Then it continue in this way, asking the question, Sapna drashtu iba. Now giving the example, now you in the dream, if you see that your body is running and you are perspiring, and you are tired and you are hungry, then suddenly some sound and your sleep is broken and the dream is also broken. What happened? Oh, I am relieved. That much. But just before that, when you were in sleep, when you were seeing that dream, you were associated with everything, isn't it? You never thought that, oh, it is a dream, I need not to be so worried about it. That time it became so real to you. Similarly, this life also. Sometimes the bad things are coming, sometimes good things are coming. We need not to worry about that. Why? Because it is all dream. Let me conclude with the story of Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna. And he said that one farmer, he was sleeping. And in the meantime something happened. His only one son, he was bitten by a snake and he died. So everybody was crying, the wife was also crying, and she came and saw the farmer is nicely sleeping. Then she pushed him up and said, how come that you are sleeping? Your son is dead. The farmer got up and went and saw that dead boy, and he was quietly standing over there. Up to this we think, oh my God, is the person is mad or what? Having no sympathy for his son, but he was a jnani. So how? Then when the same way that his wife reacted, that can't you even cry for your son? Then he said, no, let me think about it. Just before you pushed me, I was seeing a dream, and in the dream I saw that I am a king and I am having 7 sons. And now when the dream is broken, in this life I see, no, I am a farmer and I am having 1 son, which is true. Let me try to understand, and that is Vedanta. So you have to understand the truth, and the moment you can understand the truth, don't get attached or emotionally. Try to understand with the judgment that it's true. When I was imagining in the dream, and when I am awake, I am also imagining. And this is the 2 lives that is all possible only because of the consciousness. And if we are having this knowledge, then there will be no suffering in this life. Why? Because you know the suffering, the praise, all criticism, all these things, misery and and the joy is nothing but the same thing, only 2 waves. That is happening. It's okay. So that way, that is called the Vedantic Drishti. The Vedantic Drishti, this way if we can develop the 100% the mind completely detached from the present life and also the dream life, what will remain? Only joy and nothing else. What will remain? The tremendous courage that nothing is going to change. I am thinking that I am going to lose. No, nothing is going to change. Friends, it goes on asking this type of questions. So next day again, the question and we will try to answer. If you are interested, please go to this, the 2nd skanda, 8th chapter, and from 7 to 23rd verses. If you read, and all these questions will come. 2nd skanda, the book is called 2nd. And then it will be 8th chapter, from 7 to 23, all the questions are there. And from the next skanda, we will, I think 9th skanda, the Shukadeva is going on giving the answer. We will try to understand that. The answer part of the Shukadeva. Thank you very much. Let us chant this mantra before conclusion. Now you started with the personal God, and we conclude with impersonal. Same God, the personal and impersonal. So these 2 total is Hinduism. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunnante Divyai Stavai Vedai Sangha Padakramopanishadai Gayanti Yam Samaga Dhyanavasthita Tadgatina Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogina Yasyantam Navidu Sura Suragana Devaya Tasmai Namaha. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Friends, devotees, you know that this month we are going to have a retreat in the Ganges. But I am sorry, because of the limited accommodation, which is already full, we won't be able to invite you to go to that retreat. Our capacity is maximum 150, and 93 to maximum 95 people can be inside the campus, and others have to stay outside in different hotels and motels and to come to attain that. Including these two, we are now having nearly 169, 70. So, increasing more will be difficult because the fire marshal will come and we will be in great difficulty because the system rules are there. We cannot do that. Then the kitchen, accommodation and all those things are there. So some people who could not or will not be able to go to that Ganges retreat, we have arranged 2 more lectures of the same Swami Sarvapriyananda ji over here in Hindu temple on 26th evening. 26th morning it will be over in the Ganges. 26th evening, Lemont Hindu Temple Authority, they have agreed to give a 500 sitting capacity hall and Rakhi auditorium. And also one gentleman came forward to feed all completely free, whoever will attend that. That will be the free dinner over there. So if you like to come, you can please come. But the Hindu Temple Authority said that they will appreciate the donation if you give. Everything is free, but still. This is one. Second, the Swami is going to take rest over here in the Vedanta Society for 2 days, Monday and Tuesday. I was not supposed to disclose, but I am disclosing. But don't come to meet him because he wants to take a little rest, because he is traveling and so much. From here again, in one place he will go. So, 2 days he will be here. I requested him, because that will be the Monday and Tuesday evening I give the discourse on the, what's called the Panchama Veda. I requested if he can give a talk on that day. So we will also have, he has agreed, we will also have that over here. And we can accommodate over here nearly 150 in this room. And if we find that it will be much more than that, then we will request you to go to we will keep both the places ready. In our basement, it is 250 capacity. But since it is Tuesday evening, is the working day, so I think here it will be all right. And as because before Sri Ramakrishna and the environment is different type. So if it is within 150, we can accommodate over here. More than that, maybe that we have to shift to our basement hall. So this is the announcement. So thank you for coming. Please, if you have any question, you can ask. Yeah. No, it's free. But there will be no food here. The Vedanta never gives food. Evening.
Do you have the time of that?
Sunday evening time is 6:30. They will start maybe with a song or so, some bhajans, and then he will give 1 hour talk. Then I told that don't keep the question answer because it will be difficult and it will be very late. So no question answer.
Another question about your talk. The questions that when him arrived the second visit, the questions he asked Ramakrishna, are very similar to some of the questions that Parikshit asked.
Parikshit is asking. So better wait for the next Sunday, how the Shukadeva is giving the answer. I don't know any answer of these questions that he is asking. Only Shuka will be. So I will only read and tell you. So please have the lunch with us today. So today you are going to practice for Please do. I tell Stephen to stay. Yes, no problem.